Oh, hello everybody, and welcome to today's English Danny channel live stream. I'm Dr. Don, and I'm glad to be here with you today. So, I'm going to take it easy today. I take my time and let this live stream unfold gradually. Remember that at the end, I will address your questions and comments, as many as I can get through. So start thinking of something to ask about or tell me about, and leave your questions and comments in the chat. Also, if you have a topic you want to see me address in a future live stream, you can leave your suggestions in the comments as well. It is just after 9 a.m. here in the United States, and I'm in my hometown in the state of North Carolina, and today I'm broadcasting to you from my sister's house. So how is it where you are today? Today here is sunny and clear. All right, so let's take a look first at who is joining us here today. We've got several people joining us today. It looks like some new people and some old friends as well. We're getting some good wishes from Sarah Peltier. Good to hear from you again. From Mocha Kane, saying hi. My hello from Vietnam. Hello to you as well. And Mashuk Ali, hi from Pakistan. Hello to you as well. Lai Lansor, hello dear. Hello to you as well. Sao Armuar, hi there. Hi to you. Kin Marlwin, hello. Good to see all of you. All right. Okay, some people. Oh, someone from Burundi. I think that's the first person I've seen saying hello from Burundi. Welcome to you. And Tran Nu Quinn from hi, I'm Vietnamese. I had Vietnamese food at a restaurant near here just yesterday. It's quite good. And so hello from Algeria. Hello to you as well, Riyadh. And some from Burma. Hello. Hello from outside of the earth, from Win Coco. Outside of the earth? How did you get out there? That's crazy. And okay. Rocky Vaughn says, hi, Don. Hello to you. Love your channel. Okay, that's great. Mexico, Janet Torres. Good to see you. And Aslan, good morning from Algeria. That's great. Azerbaijan and Burma. All right. We're hearing from a lot of people. Saman Mohammed is asking, can you tell me your job? I could do that right quick. I am an English professor in a university in Korea. All right. Stephen Kan Ong is saying hello from Myanmar, sir. Han Lee is saying hello from Vietnam. Cesar Gonzalez from Guatemala. Habib Rahimi says hi. Lorenzo Zanoni, hello from Venice. Well, hello to you. Wow, I think that's one of our first Italian viewers. Good to hear from you. That's great. Okay. Hello from Peru. All right. Hello to you. Habib Rahimi. Hello from Afghanistan. Hi. Wow. Hello from Egypt. I think Ziad has said hello from Egypt before, so it's good to see you again. Carlos Rodriguez. Hi from Argentina. Stick around. We have a little message about an Argentinian fellow in my segments for today. I'm from Quang Ninh. Okay, good to hear you. Siar Lian from Malaysia, and Ali Muhammad from Sudan. Okay, good to hear from you. Madagascar, another African nation. That's great. Wilat Perez, I've seen before. He's from Kurdistan. Trongvo is saying hi, Don. Hi to you. Hello from the Philippines. Virginia Balentos Gandawali, good to hear from you. It feels so hot here. Yes, I bet it does. I'm from Niger. Nice to meet you. How about Sarah? Sarah did her live stream yesterday, and she'll be doing another one, I think, next week. Dawood is saying hello from Iraq, and Akila is saying hello from Kerala. Great. Hi from Mauritania. All right. And Awiya Issa saying hi from Jordan. Wow, great. Good to see you. Okay, very good. All right. It's good to see all of you here today. So it is my last weekend of vacation here in the United States, and on Sunday, I'll be flying back to Korea, I hope, if everything goes well with my COVID tests and everything. I should be able to make my flight. And my next live stream, I should be back in Korea at that time. All right, so the Olympic Games ended in Tokyo earlier this week. So today, I have some segments about topics that are very interesting to English-speaking peoples, and that's sports and athletic competitions. So I have some segments about sports. So I have a segment on sporting vocabulary. I have a segment on some extreme sports, and I have a segment on this day in history. Okay, and it's an interesting athletic achievement that happened on this day in history. And then, of course, at the end, I have a fourth segment, which is for your questions and comments. So please leave any questions, comments, or suggestions in the replies. Are you ready? Let's get started. So first, our first segment, let's learn some vocabulary. So there is a Greek word, athlein, and that means to compete for a prize. And from this word, we get several important sports-related vocabulary words. And the first one is athlete. And you can see how it's closely related because it's spelled almost the same. Athlete, originally the word athlete just meant a person who competed for a prize. But now we use this word to mean a person who is skilled at sports or other physical activities. And in British English, athlete can also have a more specific meaning, and it can mean a person who is skilled at track and field events. Now, track and field events, those are sporting events such as running and jumping and throwing, events that are held on a oval track and the field that is in the middle of that track. So that's why it's called track and field. So track and field events usually involve these things like running, jumping, throwing. The 100-meter dash is an example of a track and field event. Now, we also have this adjective, athletic. Now, athletic means physically strong, fit, or active. So an example sentence would be, my brother is very athletic. He likes to run, climb mountains, and lift weights. So those are all kind of athletic activities, activities that we might connect to an athlete, something an athlete would do. We can also use this adjective, athletic, to describe something related to athletes or their events. So for example, you could say, swimming for over a mile is an athletic achievement. Now there's another related word, athletics. This is a noun which we can use to refer to physical sports and physical games in general. So for example, you could say water polo and swimming are aquatic athletics. So swimming and water polo are aquatic athletics. That means they are athletic events that take place in the water. Aquatic means in the water or related to water. And another word related to these is athleticism. Athleticism, it's also a noun, and it means the physical qualities of athletes, such as strength or fitness or agility. So, for example, the football player displayed great athleticism in maneuvering between his opponents with the ball. So these words, athlete, athletic, athletics, and athleticism, those are all examples of a word family, which means a group of words whose meaning comes from the meaning of one root word. And in this case, that root word was athlein, compete for a prize. So it's all about competition, competing with others. So athletes are people who compete. And we usually think of them as trying to win a prize, whether it's a trophy like the Super Bowl trophy in the US, or a medal like the gold medal at the Olympic Games. If you want to learn more about word families, you can check out my series on word families on the English Danny channel or in our Facebook feed. I've got a number of videos introducing words using word families like this. Okay, one more vocabulary entry for today, and it's a verbal phrase, cheer on. Now, this is a phrase that we use to talk about the fans who are watching a sporting event. It uses the verb cheer, which means to make happy or to be happy, or can also mean to shout with joy or encouragement. When we add on, we get a phrase, cheer on, which means to encourage someone with shouts or cheers. Yay, go, go, go. That's cheering on. So for example, the fans cheered on the players from the sideline. Or during the race, I could hear my friends cheering me on. That last example, you see that you can introduce a noun or pronoun in the middle of the phrase, between the verb cheer and that preposition on. So you can say, cheer me on. So we could also say that first sentence like this: the fans cheered the players on from the sideline. So we could mix it up like that. If we use a pronoun like you or me, him, her, object pronoun, then it will always sound better if you put it in the middle. So cheer me on, cheer her on, cheer him on, cheer you on. So that's just a usage tip if you want to use that phrase to talk about encouraging people, cheering them on. All right. And I'm going to cheer you on to learn more English. Okay, so now let's look at our second segment. So extreme sports. This is a recent development in the sporting world. Extreme sports. These are athletic activities which involve a high degree of risk. An example of an extreme sport would be free solo climbing. That is a kind of rock climbing, which means climbing up a rock face that is too steep to walk up. So if it's just like this, you could walk up the mountain. But if the mountain is like this, you have to climb. You have to rock climb. And usually you use safety rope so that if you fall, the rope will catch you. Free solo climbing, no safety rope. So as you can see, that's pretty dangerous. If it goes up high enough, you could risk serious injury or death. So that's an extreme sport, very extreme, because it's very dangerous. But a little less dangerous, but another extreme sport is parachuting or skydiving. Skydiving is when you jump out of a plane with a parachute and fall to the earth. But you use the parachute to land safely because it opens up, it's big fabric, and it catches the wind, catch the air, and then it slows you down and you can land at a safe speed instead of a deadly speed. So it's a little less dangerous because usually the parachute works and you can land safely. And the reason why it's an athletic event is while people are falling, athletic skydivers can do all kinds of athletic or acrobatic activities in the air. You could spin around, flip around, do all kinds of crazy things that you can't normally do. So that's an example of another extreme sport. Now, a somewhat less dangerous example, but still an example of an extreme sport, is surfing. Surfing was an Olympic medal event this year. And surfing is a sport in which a surfer uses a flat board to ride on a moving wave. So go to the beach, you see the waves coming in. The surfer uses the board they stand up on the board and they ride on the wave. Usually this happens at the ocean, at the beach, because that's where the waves are usually high enough to ride on. But you can also find some waves in lakes or rivers, or even in artificial wave pools. So those are 3 examples. Do you know of any other examples of extreme sports? Are there any you would be interested in trying? Some people say that extreme sports are for people who are young and A bit daring or a bit crazy? What do you think? All right, so next, let's look at an impressive athletic accomplishment from this day in history. So, this day in history is August 13, 1926. A man named Enrique Tiraboschi from Argentina swam the English Channel. And he swam from France to England. And he was the first person to do this, starting from France and ending in England. A few people had swum from England to France before, but he was the first to do it the other way. And he also set what at the time was a world record for crossing the channel, swimming across the channel at 16 hours and 33 minutes to cross the 34 kilometers separating England from France. So if you don't know, the English Channel is a body of water that separates England, which is an island, from France. And it's the busiest shipping lane in the world. It's also about 34 kilometers at its most narrow point. So you have to swim at least 34 kilometers to cross it. And that's what Enrique did on this day. But I don't know about you, but I would find it a little bit hard to walk for 16 hours straight, let alone swim for that long or that distance in cold water. So this is an example of an extreme athletic accomplishment. It's like running a marathon, which is a 42-kilometer foot race, or riding in the Tour de France, which is a 21-day bicycle race through parts of France. I think I could swim for maybe 2 or 3 kilometers, but 34 kilometers in cold ocean water with heavy tides, that might be a little too much for me. Well, what kind of sports and athletic events are interesting to you? Are there any that you practice? Are there any that you like to watch? Is there an athlete or team that you like to cheer on? Share your answers in the comments, and I will take a look at them in our next segment. All right, so that's our short lesson for today. Let's take a look at some of your questions and comments and see what you have to say about any of these. What are extreme sports? So, extreme sports, I gave you some examples: surfing, free solo climbing, parachuting, or skydiving. But another would be parasailing. So parasailing is when you stand on a board, kind of like a surfboard, with a big sail, and you hold on to the sail, and you let the wind blow you across the ocean. It's another example of an extreme sport. So or acrobatic flying, that would be another one, absolutely. Or paragliding, where you get on a glider and you ride the glider down, right? So that's an example. Horse riding can be extreme in some cases, sure. The more dangerous it is, the more likely you could call it an extreme sport. All right, so let's see. Let's check out some of your questions and comments. All right, very good. All right, so let's see what we have here. Amazing pronunciation. Well, I thank you very much. Doing the best I can. I'm from Iraq. It's good to hear from you. That's great. All right. Okay, John is from the Philippines, and Laura Cici, Asma from Algeria. Good to see from you. Kate D from Myanmar. Ride saying hello. And okay, so Arsen Mangura asks, my question is that how can I speak fast and remember very well the vocabulary words necessary for a conversation? I wouldn't worry too much about speaking fast. When you're learning, it's okay to speak a little bit slowly and carefully. What I would say is, if you want to get better, get faster, get better at remembering the vocabulary words, is practice, practice, practice. So what you want to do is you want to practice the words so that they come to you pretty readily. The more practice you get, the better it will be. That's the way. One thing I like to do to get better at understanding vocabulary words is actually, it was a lesson today, word families. Is start to see the connections between words, so that words like athlete, athleticism, athletics, when you start to understand that words that are spelled similarly are often related and have connected meanings, it becomes easier for you to understand words, because sometimes new words will be related to old words that you know. You'll start to see how the words connect with each other. So just take a look at word families as well to help get better with understanding vocabulary words. Okay. Jose from Colombia, great to see you. Yutan Tun, hello, I'm from Myanmar. Wow, we have several viewers from Myanmar today. That's great. This must be a very good time slot for your country. Hello from Morocco, good to see you. Hello, I'm from Somalia. Okay, Prince bin Mohammed, good to hear from you. Aranso Sito, hello, I'm from Mozambique. That's great. Okay, hello from Algeria. Saman Mohammed says your speaking is very clear and the accent, I guess, is very clear, easy for you to understand. That's great. I hope that it is very interesting and easy for you to understand. I'm also trying to speak a little bit slower to make it easier to understand me. Right, so another person saying hello from the Philippines. That's great. Ali Muhammad Fadlala says, how can I speak like Native American people? Well, there's a couple of ways to get better at that. And one way that you can get better at that is to listen to music or watch programs. You know, here's something I might recommend that might be a little bit unusual. Sometimes you can watch older movies like from the 1950s or 1960s, because their speaking is going to be, I find that it's a little bit easier for people to understand. In modern movies, the way that they're shot and the way people speak tends to be a little bit faster. Some of those older movies from that era, they speak a little bit more slowly and clearly, I think. And you might find it easier, and then also might find it less culturally bizarre. So modern movies, even for me, sometimes are kind of like, what is going on? But some of these older movies can be a little bit easier to get a handle on, to understand. And their English might be a little easier for you to master. Plus, it's a movie, so it might be more fun to indulge in. It might be more fun to watch. Okay, so let's see. All right, so Osman Amr says, very nice, that's great. Khilafa Aisa Fortune says, I'm from Algeria, and someone from Nigeria is saying hello, that's great. A couple of people, actually. A couple more people from Sudan, that's great. How to read English clearly? Well, how to read it clearly. To get better at reading, usually reading is an easier skill to develop because you can do it at your own pace. Of course, when speaking and listening, it happens very quickly. But when you're reading, you have time to look up words that you don't understand. So how to read clearly, that's pretty easy. I can recommend a couple of things. One is to check out some classic books or stories. But another thing you can look at is I have a couple of books, Learn English Through Stories books. And these can help you with your reading because I have very short stories that you can find it easy to get through, because the story is presented in each story is presented in three different ways. First, in a very simple grammatical way, and then two more times written with more vocabulary, with more grammar difficulty. And that way might actually help you with your reading because you can easily understand what's going on in the story. And then you can start to understand more complex grammar structures because you know what is being said. So you might want to check those books out, or you can check out any other books on English to help get your reading a little better. All right. Okay. What are the, Glenn Swan, what are the do's and don'ts of being a speaker? Well, the do's would include things like practice where you can. Now, I would say, I don't want to say there's too many don'ts, but one thing that might be that you might find unsuccessful, so I'll call it a don't, is don't just go up to somebody and say, "Oh, can I practice English with you?" Because some people aren't teachers, and they might find that difficult. They won't know what to do, and they might find it pushy or annoying. So I wouldn't say just don't go up to somebody at random that you see in your country, say, "Oh, can I practice my English?" Ease into it. You might want to say hello first, talk to them a little bit, and then sort of see if they would be willing to help you a little bit first. Don't just jump right into it. Because I've had people say that to me on the street, and it's kind of like, well, I'm in the middle of something. I can't help you right now. So that would be a don't. But a do is do practice wherever you can, and practice listening. Listening to music or movies or books on tape or anything that works for you. I would say another big do is do push yourself. To get better at speaking, you have to try things. Maybe even try things that you don't think you can do. You might surprise yourself. Try to have a conversation. Try to string as many sentences together as you can at a time. Another don't is don't be too hard on yourself. Don't feel, oh, because my grammar isn't perfect, I won't be understood. English is kind of forgiving about mistakes. Native speakers are usually able to understand what you're getting at. The mistakes have to be there have to be a lot before people really don't understand your meaning at all. Usually you can kind of understand, and you can use visual cues, body language cues to help get your meaning across. At the end of the day, you want to express your mind to another person. So anything you can use to help with that is use it, I say. Okay, so that was a good question. Hello, sir. How are you? I have a question. Please help me to understand the meaning of federal. Okay, so that's kind of a complex question. That's a political question. So this is a question related to the United States, but there are other countries that use this too. But it's a system of government where I'll use the example in the United States. In a federal system is a system in which you have entities which have certain sovereign powers of their own. In the US, there are 50 states, and those states have certain powers things that they are in charge of. There is no power over them. States set certain rules for certain businesses that may be allowed or not allowed, certain laws within reason, but they have their own sort of requirements for things. And in a federal system, those states have certain powers, and then there is a central government over all those entities, which also has powers that unify them into one whole. But in a federal system, there's always some give and take between the overall authority and the local authority, right? There will often be issues where the local authority is like, no, this is what we are in charge of. Federal authorities like, no, we have to be in charge of this or else it won't make sense. So it's a difficult thing to explain, but basically federal system is a system in which there's a big whole, And within that whole, there are little unities that have a certain amount of independence on their own. They are part of the whole, but they also are independent entities. I don't know if that makes sense, but that is the way our system works. And I think there are other countries that have similar ideas as well. Okay, so that's a difficult question to answer, but maybe I answered it. Let's see. So greetings from Colombia to you and the rest of the assistants. All right, I'll tell Danny who said that. He's helping to run things from behind the scenes. All right, so hello from, let's see. Whenever I want to start, okay, so here's a good question. Whenever I want to start a conversation with someone, I get nervous. Why? Well, why do you get nervous? Because sometimes you are afraid you're going to make mistakes, or that you'll be embarrassed, or that things won't work out. It's very natural. So it's very natural to get nervous before starting a conversation with someone. So a couple of things you can think of is that same energy, that nervous energy, can be channeled into something positive. You should try to don't focus on your feelings of nervousness. Try to focus on the conversation. And that energy of nervousness may turn into energy of excitement, right? May turn into energy of excited or interested communication. It can work for you. And another thing is try to focus on, if you get nervous, try to start with some simple conversation, a set conversation like good morning, good afternoon, how are you doing? These are set phrases that you can memorize, and the person will usually respond with a set phrase that you probably will find easy to understand. Good morning. A common response is to say good morning, or good morning to you, or good morning, or to you as well, or something like that. Okay. And then how are you doing? I'm fine. How are you? So these sort of set phrases, what you'll find is because they're easy to exchange, you'll start to feel like, okay, conversation's going well. And your nervousness will start to go down because you're having success. And success will build on success. So try to start out a conversation with a few easy set phrases like that. You might find that your nervousness starts to go away because you start to get into the conversation instead of getting into your mind. We want to get out of your mind and into your conversation with others. Okay. Hello, sir. How to construct an effective and better speech. Effective and better speech. Well, you might want to check out Sarah's series on giving presentations. There is a lot of advice in that series that might help you with constructing. Now, if you just mean speaking better, I think there's help in that series for that as well. All right. Jose Mauricio is saying, thanks, teacher. No inglés, español. Okay. No English, Spanish. Okay. Well, do the best you can. You were able to say hello, teacher. So that's a little bit of English, just a little bit, a touch of English, a touch of English. Okay. How are you doing? I'm fine, Waleed. Good to hear from you. And then same person, Jose Mauricio, thank you, teacher. I would like to be able to have some classes with you. I understand little English. We are trying to work out plans for possibly offering classes. Sarah might do something like that. John might do something like that. I might do something like that. We haven't figured it out yet. There are some technical issues to work out and scheduling issues to work out, but that might happen. So keep an eye on what we're doing, and you might start to see a notice about that if you're interested in some English lessons. Okay, so that there may be something for you there in the future. We'll see. Okay, so thanks for sharing your knowledge with us. Okay, well, thank you for joining us. That's great. Okay, Zong Nan is saying hello. Pedro Gomez Terrado say, me interesa. You're interested? This interests me. Okay, well, that's great. I'm glad. And okay, I think there's a repeat there. Let me see if there's any. Oh, how do you do? How do you do as well? I'm doing fine. That's a good example of a set phrase, a good way to lead into a conversation. How do you do? I'm doing well, thank you. How are you? So you exchange a few phrases like this, and your conversation is on the way. Muhammad Osman is saying hi, teacher. Zangnana is saying hello, teacher. That's great. Let me see. Is there anybody? I want to make sure that I didn't miss anybody or miss any questions and comments. You can leave questions and comments below. I still have some time here to respond. Okay. Let's see. All right. It's always interesting to see who is joining us and where people are from and how they're doing. All right, let me see. How can I speak fast? I think I addressed that one. Remember the vocabulary words. Practice, practice, practice. That is always something to keep in mind. I think listening to the live streams should help you a little bit. It certainly will help you increase your confidence, because you should start to feel, oh, this isn't too bad. Do I think speaking English is measurement of a person's intelligence? No, I wouldn't say so. And here's why. I know a lot of native speakers who speak English, and they're dumb. So I know a lot of native speakers who are dumb, but they speak English. So no, just speaking English is not enough. All of us, almost all human beings, have within us the ability to learn a language. At the very least, our native language. We sort of learn it from our mother's, with our mother's milk, if you will. It's called our mother tongue, the first language you learn. And a lot of people, even people who are, not super intelligent, usually can at least speak their own native language. I would say, if you want to say a measure of someone's intelligence, you could say something like the way that they speak or write. That might be a clue. Just being able to speak English isn't enough. But if they speak English in a certain way, or they're able to write in a certain way, that might be a clue. That might be an indication of intelligence, right? So, but just being able to do it, that's a skill that anyone can learn. You don't have to be super smart to learn English. It's not necessary. You can be of average or even below average intelligence and learn to speak English. You can learn to speak a foreign language. I see it. I know it's true because I've seen it happen. So, Taiko Kaosa, hello from South Korea. Oh, hello to you. I'll be joining you. I'll be joining you in a few days. I'll be coming back in a few days. All right. So same person saying fun. Oh, fun. That's great. I hope so. Can you give me your WhatsApp? I can send you mine. Let's see. What the important thing to speak English? I think one important thing is to keep practicing. You need to practice every day. It doesn't have to be for hours every day, but a little bit every day, because acquiring a language is a step-by-step activity. It's not an all-at-once activity. It's something that you do little by little. It can be a lot by a lot. Like if you really want to, practice, you can spend 2 hours a day if you want, 3 hours a day if you have the time. But if you don't have the time, or you don't have the patience, or you're not interested in spending that much time, it's not necessary. You can still acquire it just spending 10, 15 minutes a day. But keep practicing, keep trying. That's the main thing. Let's see. So someone's leaving a comment. Okay. Speaking, Sawas Farouk says, speaking is the biggest challenge because it isn't easy to speak confidently and avoid grammar and pronunciation mistakes. How can I improve speaking and get more confidence? Okay. Well, the first thing is, I would say don't worry too much about avoiding grammar and pronunciation mistakes. You'll make some, and that's fine. Most people who are listening to you will be forgiving of those mistakes. They'll try to understand you. I know that it can become extreme. It can be hard to understand what somebody's saying. But again, English is pretty forgiving with grammar and pronunciation mistakes. It's usually okay to figure out what somebody intends. And that's the main thing. So don't worry about perfection. We're not striving for perfection here, right? That's a late goal when you have mastered the language, you become fluent, then you become more perfect in it, right? But don't worry about that. You know, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. So worry about the steps that are in front of you, not the end steps. When you think about having acquired the language, that gap will seem so extreme. You're like, how could I ever do it? But when you just focus on the steps in front of you, it's like, oh, well, I can do this step. I can do this step. And the idea is you just keep doing it and you eventually move along. Okay. How can I improve speaking, get more confidence? There's many different ways. What I would say is find something that works for you. Find something that you enjoy doing. Something that maybe it's a hobby or something that you like or are interested in or want or are interested in learning. But find something that is interesting to you, exciting to you, because then you're more likely to keep doing it. Make it a habit. Whatever it is that you do to improve your speaking or to practice your speaking, make it a habit and do it all the time. I mean, one thing I do when I'm studying Korean is I learn sentences and I make flashcards and I test myself pronouncing, making sentences, and little by little I find that I make improvements. Now at a certain point, and then I get out and I start practicing it with some native speakers here and there. And I practice it a little at a time. I don't focus on, I'm going to have a long conversation. I focus on, I'm going to have a 3-sentence conversation. I'm going to say a thing, they'll say a thing. I'll say a second thing, they'll respond, and then I'll say a third thing. And that'll be about it. Okay? Short conversations, because then you're more likely to have a successful conversation, and success builds on success. So that's what I do. Maybe you can try that out. So Dr. Don, my question is, what do you mean this common idiom that costs an arm and a leg? Okay, so the idiom is it cost an arm and a leg. And it's a way of saying that it cost too much or it was very expensive. Because think about it. It cost you your arm and your leg. So nobody wants to give up for their arm. Nobody wants to give up their leg. And certainly no one wants to give up both an arm and a leg. And the idea is it didn't cost you everything. It wasn't both arms, wasn't both legs. You have one arm, you can still hop around on your one leg. So it didn't cost everything, but it cost too much. That's the idea. It cost too much. It cost something you did not want to part with. So that's the meaning of that idiom. Okay, so Klein is saying hello, teacher. Lolo Mohammed is saying hello, everyone. Okay, let's see. All right, so we have a couple more questions. Let's see here. Let's see. My pronunciation is not good and not natural, like reading a sentence. How should I do? I try to listen to English podcasts every day. That's great. Okay. Again, think about it as step by step. It's not something that you're going to get better at overnight. If you want to get better at pronunciation and you feel that you're kind of stuck or you're not making progress, what you can do is you can focus on pronunciation practice. We have some, actually, we do have our videos are available on podcast form, so you can listen to those. And you can try to repeat our sentences, repeat our example sentences to focus on your pronunciation. One technique for practicing pronunciation, if you have a cell phone, is most cell phones have standard voice recognition software. You can try to get an app which I don't know, you can use Google Translate, for example, and you can try to speak sentences into it and see if it displays the words, speak English sentences into it and see if it displays the words correctly. Did it display the words you intended? And if it didn't, try to work on your pronunciation until it does display those words correctly. So that's, you can use technology to help. That's a way. Another technique is to practice, just find a program that says practice English syllables or minimal pairs. It's called minimal pairs, another thing you can practice. But I usually just like to practice by listening to native speakers and sort of imitate the rhythms of their speech the best I can. All right. Let me see. Professor, is it really important to learn all the concept and principles of English? No, you don't have to learn all the concept and principles. There's too many. There's so many. You don't have to know them all to speak in English, to understand English. I would even say that, I mean, if you think about your own native language, do you know all the concepts and principles of your own native language, or are you just able to speak it kind of naturally? Most people, they don't really know the concepts. They couldn't explain the rules that they're using. They just use the rules. And you can kind of learn that as well in English. You can kind of learn English that way as well, by exposing yourself to examples of actual English. You'll sort of start to intuit the rules more than learning them up in your head. Now, you can learn that way. It is possible. But I think you'll find it's a little easier to learn in a more natural way. Let's see. Mary Ruiz says, I'm studying English since 5 months ago, and the hardest skill for myself, learning it until now, is the pronunciation, but I never give up. Step by step, I'm seeing results. That's great. Excellent. I'm going to start reading more in English. Good. Which tool or app do you think is useful for improving the pronunciation? Thanks so much. Regards from Spain. Okay, great. I don't have a specific app that I use because I think my English pronunciation is okay. So I don't have a specific app to recommend. But I have used Google Translate for pronunciation and seeing if it's understanding the words that I'm pronouncing. And that's a simple one. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. And it's okay. Is it perfect? No. Is it the best? No. There's probably ones that you could get that cost money that are better, but that's a good free app to use. And you can give that a try. And if you find that it's useful, then you can then do some research and find a pay app that may be better. So that's what I might recommend, is find something that's good for free, or that's at least okay, that's free, and try it out. If that method works for you, then look into something you might spend money on. Okay, so, but don't give up. Step by step, I'm seeing results. That's great. Start reading more in English. That's excellent. I recommend the Learn English Through Stories books. They're very cheap. You can get them on Amazon and printed and sent to you anytime you want. Or you can download them as ebooks. It's very easy English, very simple to get started and level up your English knowledge. This is a pretty good question. How can one avoid translating process into one's own mother tongue when trying to speak English? Yeah, that's good. That's hard because, all right, so this is what you're trying to do, you're trying to think in the other language, not just think in your language and then just convert the words, because that will sound strange and that will lead you into problems. Here's what I do. Here's what I do when I'm learning Korean, is I learn sentences that are written by native speakers and are increasingly complex. So I start with simple ones and then graduate to more difficult ones. And the sentences will sometimes introduce new vocabulary to me. So I'm learning vocabulary this way, but I memorize the sentences. And I know a little bit about the grammar, so I understand why those sentences are constructed that way. But the sentences are native level sentences. And by reading them and memorizing them and repeating them, I slowly start to intuit or understand, okay, that's the idiom of this language. That's the way this language constructs these ideas. I don't know of a good example of this. Maybe I'll have to create one, but the sentences I learned, they're all based around a certain grammatical principle, like how to ask who questions in Korean. So I'll learn a couple of example sentences where it's asking a who question. And when you learn those examples, you start to realize, oh, wow, they use who questions a bit differently than we use them in English. And then you start to realize, okay, all right, well, this is how it's done. I would recommend something like that. So find a few sort of grammatical principles you want to learn about, like how to ask WH questions in English. We have a series on that, so you can use those and memorize the example sentences and start to learn those example sentences. And you will start to do it, not translate it into your mother tongue, but doing it in the English way. And then you'll start to, then you can practice. You can use that example sentence, introduce some new vocabulary, construct your own sentence. Now you're making English sentences. Okay, so there we go. What's your insight with regard to this phrase? When it's not okay, not to be okay. When it's okay, not to be. Oh, okay. It's okay to not be okay. When is it not okay to not be okay? Yes. So this is saying all right, so a way of thinking about it is sometimes it's fine, it's okay, it's not a problem to not be well, or to not be healthy, or to admit that you're not feeling well, admit that things aren't working out, or admit you made a mistake, that you're not okay, whatever not okay might mean in that context. And when is it not okay to do that? Meaning when should you probably not admit that? So I'll give you an example of each. When is it okay to not be okay? If you're sick and you can't go into work, it's probably okay to say, I can't go into work today, I'm not feeling well, and I might spread my illness to others. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay. It's not bad to say, I can't go to work today. Don't beat yourself up. Don't make it worse by saying, oh, I shouldn't do it. You just say, I'm sick. I need a day to recover. It's fine. An example where maybe it's not okay to not be okay is, let's say you're with your child. Child's 2. You're lost. You don't know where you are. Child's getting scared. I would say maybe it's not okay to say, I'm lost, I'm scared. You have to be the adult. You have to project to your child, it's okay, we'll be fine. You understand? It's not okay to not be okay in that case. My feeling on it is, now you might disagree, but my feeling on it is the adult should protect the child from that. So you shouldn't be like, yes, we're lost, we're in deep trouble here, son. No. It's not okay to do that. So you want to protect them from that and say, no, don't worry about it. Now you might be scared internally, but you're going to at least keep the kid okay by saying, we'll find a way. We'll find a way out of this. Don't worry. So that's how I'd explain those two phrases. All right. My voice is starting to give out because I've been speaking for so long, almost a whole hour here. I hope you've learned a lot of English. Yeah, it looks like your throat has a serious problem. It feels like my throat has a serious problem. So I've just been speaking a lot. That's all. I need a glass of water about now. I'll answer one last question. What's the opposite of intelligent? There are many different words for it, but unintelligent or stupid, dumb, those are ways to say opposite of intelligent. He's intelligent, he's dumb. He's smart, he's dumb. He's intelligent, he's stupid. So there you go. All right, so everybody, you're all intelligent for watching me today. Thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next live stream. Bye-bye for now.